Namaste, you're on the Nation at 5. I'm Anand Narasimhan coming to you live from the newsroom here at CNN News 18, and we stay with the big developments and perhaps all the information that we've been able to glean on the Mangaluru blast. Top intelligence sources are telling CNN News 18 that the main accused in the Mangaluru blast case, Mohammad Sharik, has been linked to the ISIS. Police searched Sharik's residence in Mangaluru and recovered pressure cookers, gelatin sticks and also other explosive material. Your channel has exclusively also accessed a photo of Sharik where he can be seen holding a cooker, a pressure cooker in his hand, which points towards ISIS-style pressure cooker bombings or lone wolf attacks. Karnataka police say that Sharik's handler was one Abdul Mateen Talha, who is wanted in the Al-Hind ISIS Bengaluru case, Bengaluru module case. Police say that Sharik conducted recce operations before the blast. In another development, one more person has been picked up and questioned at Bengaluru's Kejihalli. His name is Muhammad Ruhullah, and he is suspected to have been in touch with Sharik. Whether he is also a highly radicalized individual is a subject matter of investigation. But what is evident is that there are a group of highly motivated, highly radicalized individuals who are wanting to stoke unrest, cause mayhem, execute terror blasts. But more importantly, there is a certain level of subterfuge which they want to use. It just reminds us, brings us the horrible reminders 15 years down the line, 14 years down the line of 26/11, where the killers, the attackers were trying to masquerade as Hindu people, Hindu individuals or Hindu terrorists, and this entire aspect of Bhagwa terror narrative was spun around that. So much so that despite the evidence mounting in 2012, we had politicians who came out for book unveilings which alleged that it was all an RSS plot. In this case also, the fake IDs that have been procured from Sharik, who had multiple fake Aadhaar cards, we'll get you the details on that too, has pointed to the fact that they were planning, highly motivated, highly radicalized, but also very, very sharp. They wanted to deflect the attention and showcase as if this was Hindu extremism that is being given rise to. And that's also a subject matter of investigation. Let's listen into what the ADGP, Alok Kumar, had to say, followed by some other reactions coming in.
On 19th of November at around 4:40 p.m., one low-intensity blast had taken place near Nagori at the outskirts of Mangalore city. One auto in which one passenger was carrying on bag. So incidentally or accidentally, that cooker bomb which he was carrying in the bag, it has exploded. Driver of the auto, Purushottam Pujari, and the stranger, whose name now has been confirmed as Sharik, son of Asim Abdul Majid, resident of Tirthalli. So he is the stranger person, and he has been already accused in 3 cases. His immediate handler was Arafat Ali, who is accused in this Mangalore North Police Station case and Mangalore East Police Station case. Abdul Mateen Taha, he is one of the accused person, and Musawwir Hussain, both resident of Tirthalli. They are accused persons, but they are absconding. So Abdul Mateen Taha is also absconding, and he is the main handler as of now, as per our information, of Sharik. His acts has been inspired and influenced by some terrorist organization which is having global presence. So it is due to that, and he has tried to learn this manufacturing on his own, it seems. We have to be very careful in this year of election when everything is so sensitive. So there will be so many efforts to disrupt the peace. There will be efforts to disrupt the harmony. So police has to be extra alert.
Couple of months ago, in the month of October, on 23rd, I think, in Coimbatore, similar incidents has taken place. There also they had planned to blast around the temple. But as you know that the Maruti van where he was traveling, it got also similarly exploded much before this temple. This person also, Mr. Mohammed, has gone and met the person in Coimbatore.
ತಾರೀಖ್ ಹುಬ್ಳಿಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಮಯ ಇದ್ದ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ID ಕಾರ್ಡ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಕಳು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ತಾನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದ, ತಾನು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಮೈಸೂರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ರೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಪೊಲೀಸರು. ಮೈಸೂರಲ್ಲೂ ಕೆಲವು ಸಮಯ ವಾಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಸಮಗ್ರವಾಗಿ ತನಿಖೆ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಬಂದರ ಮೇಲಷ್ಟೇ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಶಿವಮೊಗ್ಗ ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ನಡೆದಂಥ ಘಟನೆ, ಬಾಂಬ್ ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಘಟನೆಗೂ ಮತ್ತು ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಅನುಮಾನಾಸ್ಪದವಾಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅವೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಪೊಲೀಸರು. ಏನೇ ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದರ ಹುಟ್ಟಡಗಿಸುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸ ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರ, ರಕ್ಷಣಾ ಇಲಾಖೆ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗೂ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ.
Heightened radical activity south of the Vindhyas, are they all connected? Is there a connection? Is there a thread that binds them all? This is CNN News 18 exclusive. Let's look at the details of the investigation that reveal a terror nexus at play. Top sources are telling CNN News 18 that the investigation is revealing that there could be a connection to one particular city, and that is Shimoga in Karnataka. How does this come to the fore? A Shimoga module behind the blast is a big question. Sharik is an absconder in the Shimoga case too. Common modus operandi in both the cases. There is a common makeup or construct of the bombs that have been used or attempted to be made. Phosphorus, sulfur, potassium nitrate. This has been the mix that was used. Nuts and bolts were added for maximum impact, or perhaps acting as shrapnels which would pierce and cause maximum damage. Was Shimoga a trial run for Mangaluru? That's the other big question. Now, there are some other aspects too which we'd like to share before I bring in Arunima into the conversation to take us more. Let's look at what he did and the route map of Sharik. So, he forged Aadhaar cards of a Hubli resident. That's what he has done. He travelled in September, procured a mobile. That's what Sharik did. That is, from Hubli, he moved to Coimbatore. So that's the next. Let's move to Coimbatore. So he moved to Coimbatore. That's where he travelled, procured a mobile. Then from Hubli to Coimbatore, he goes down. And from Coimbatore, he heads back into Karnataka. He goes into Mysuru. And from Mysuru, then he takes... he goes back to Mangaluru. From Mysuru, he moves further up north towards the coastal area of Mangaluru. And that's where there is a blast in an auto rickshaw. Now, he was also ferrying. He was actually going to a location when this blast happened. Arunima is here with us. Arunima, some interesting connections. What is the connection with Shimoga? Let's start there.
So if you see the history of how this module started operating, go back to 15th of August. On the Independence Day, there was some kind of a clash over the unfurling of the national flag. During that clash, there were violence and at least one person was arrested. Subsequently, one person from the group stabbed a resident of Shimoga. So that was the second red flag that was raised about how much of radicalization was happening here. The third incident that happened was in September 2022. On the 20th of September, on the banks of the Tungabhadra river, there was a trial blast that was carried out. 2 people was arrested. One person, who turned out to be Sharik, absconded. And if you look at the timeline, around the same time, he had also travelled to Coimbatore. 20th of September, this blast happened. On 3rd of September, he had gone to Coimbatore. Who was he meeting? Why was he meeting? Who was really helping them? Those are crucial questions. And the last Shimoga connection is that of the alleged handler. The alleged handler, Talha, Abdul Matin Talha, is believed to be in Dubai. From 2020 onwards, has been on the radar of NIA and the intelligence agencies. He is suspected to be the one providing literature for bomb making, providing logistical and financial support.
Who is Abdul Mateen Talha?
Okay, Abdul Mateen Talha is a resident of Shimoga. He first came onto the radar of NIA in the Al-Hindi case. This is the ISIS Al-Hindi case in which he came onto the radar. They searched his residence. They didn't find him. They declared a reward of 3 lakh rupees for him. And then for 2 years, nothing has happened. Now, suddenly, his name is coming up. Looks like he's not only managed to abscond from India, he could be in Dubai. That's the suspicion. And from Dubai, he's not just sitting pretty there. He's continuing to run this module, pick up people who online search for words like jihad or persecution of Muslims, then get them enrolled to encrypted platforms like Telegram or Signal, send them jihadi literature, and once they're ready, then send him to a madrasa or a masjid for further training, build a complete module, and then pick up people like Sharik to go ahead and plant bombs.
So if you look at a modus operandi, one of the aspects is identify people who are searching for or showing a certain hint towards radicalization. Use encrypted platforms to engage with them, connect with them. And then there is a local OGW network which is there. If you were to take the Kashmir term and put it back on the rest of the country, what they are doing is that they are using places of congregation as places of radicalization. So there is a very organized method. The other part, Arunima, is the mix that is used for the building the explosive. Where were they getting the phosphorus from?
Very interesting. You would think that, to build an IED, you would need high-grade explosive. What were they doing? They're picking up matchstick. Your humble matchstick at your residence is becoming content for IED. That is what the investigation so far has shown, both in the Shimoga trial blast, which happened on the banks of Tungabhadra River, and again in the Mangaluru blast as well. Evidence of phosphorus that has been chipped clean of matchsticks has been found. This phosphorus combined with sulfur, which is easily available at local chemical stores, plus going on to e-commerce websites and ordering other nuts and bolts. Nuts and bolts because they are used to cause splinter injuries when the bomb explodes. Why does phosphorus come in? Because phosphorus leads to fire. You're not only wanting to maim people and kill them with splinter injuries, you want to delete and destroy all the evidence, possibly cause burn injuries as well. We were lucky, Anand, this time around the bomb exploded without reaching the destination. But we have to be wary because next time we may not be so lucky.
Will not be so lucky. Final question before I go across to our guests. This Coimbatore connection. In Coimbatore, there has been that entire ISIS module that was busted. There were the Easter bombing guys who were present there. And the NIA had said, and the local cops had said, that they have identified other radicals too. But they are not in a position to nab them because they have not committed a crime yet. So were they all connected to each other?
We are waiting for police to tell us what evidence they have. But in the Coimbatore case, at least 8 people are under the scanner of the National Investigation Agency. What are the common links between Coimbatore and what we saw in Mangaluru? The kind of explosive used: nitrate compound, sulfur, nuts and bolts are easily available, procurable, explosives. E-commerce website being used as a platform. Now, while security grid experts are arguing that these low-grade explosives are common in most of the blasts that happened, but the commonality can't be brushed aside. The second thing, why did the Mangaluru accused go to Coimbatore?
Yeah.
Why was he there? That's the big question. Third, even though we don't know yet if there was a common handler between the two, that is a line of investigation. Was somebody providing logistical and financial support to both these modules? That's the third connection between Coimbatore and Mangaluru that is under probe.
Very well put together, and I think these timelines, these passages need to be also collated and looked in continuation from the 15th of August downwards, and if not even from before that, 2018, 2019, because Easter bombings and these people were landing there, these elements were under the radar. The Tamil Nadu police conducting raids in Chennai also and catching people.
I know you're short of time, but very quickly I want to point out something, that how is the mind of these radicalized people working? They procured SIM cards, and not just one Aadhaar card was misused. We only know of the Hubli incident where the Aadhaar was stolen. Now evidence coming in that at least in 4 instances Aadhaar was misused. For the Uti man Surendran, this guy went and told him, I'm a poor man, I've lost my mobile, please help me get a SIM card. And he provided his own Aadhaar details.
Yeah.
In 2 other districts, he went and picked up the Aadhaar card of people and procured separate SIM cards. We don't know how many SIM cards were used, because from Mysuru to Hubli to Coimbatore to Aluva to back to Mysuru and then Mangalore, there's this entire chain of travel that has happened. Perhaps there is more. The other SIM card dumps will tell us.
True, because in Chennai they found more than 150 mobile phones and a lot of SIM cards. They've not divulged the number of SIM cards that they've found. Arunima, thank you very much. Let's take this forward with Pathikrit Pine and Major General K.K. Sinha. General K.K. Sinha, one of the aspects, all the IDs which they have used, fake IDs, are Hindu names. So is there an attempt to also try and show Hindu extremism while it is ISIS radicals who are conducting these attacks? So how devious are these people and how far gone and motivated?
Anand, good evening. Anand, when you talk about the terror nexus, especially we are talking about today in the south, India south, what is happening in the area around the Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, not to forget about it. If you have read the dossier, if you go in detail of the dossier, when the banning of the Popular Front of India was done under the UAPA, after that 10 states was raided and 270 people were, the similar linkages, what you are bringing out, you and Arunima, brought it out. I think it was very, very, detailed you have gone and you have able to, put the links, how it is happening. Yes. In spite of the fact that it happened in September, PFI has been banned. But now when you are linking it up with the Shimoga, the blast that in January 2021, and it is a truck which was carrying the gelatin sticks, and the huge truck and the blast took place. And 8 people died. It starts from there. Then you are bringing it Coimbatore. And mind you, Coimbatore is a junction when you talk about, you see the Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and also Karnataka. Because I have been there in the Wellington for a long time, it becomes the major hub of these type of activities where you can easily cross over any side toward the Nilgiris, and you are there towards side Mangalore, or you go to Mangaluru. So that junction becomes very, very important. And what you are bringing it out, the pressure cooker, PFI linkages with the ISIS, and we are just missing one point, Lakshadweep. When you take, when we are talking about Sri Lanka, where this, the blast took place after that thing, Sri Lanka is not able to come out. The Easter blast, that was the benchmark. The Sri Lanka is going down, and the Lakshadweep and linkages with Mangalore. Why this area? Because Lakshadweep was the major target of Pakistan, also of China, for this type of activities to push this thing through. Linkages with Dubai, I think NIA and ED has able to establish these linkages, and then moving upwards. We are talking about the India South, but it has got a major connotation, linkages in Coimbatore, Mangalore with Simmogra, and
Sinaji,
which we are saying.
Sinha, interesting that you mentioned Lakshadweep, because Lakshadweep to Mangalore, it's an open port, and there is a ferry, and there is to and fro traffic which happens, and that traffic also goes into Kerala, into Kasaragod and some of the other North Kerala ports in some of those areas. So interesting that you are drawing this parallel and adding this dimension, that this also needs to be under the radar. But this Coimbatore connection, the Khilafah 2.0, radical outfits, radical groups, students highly motivated by ISIS, Al-Qaeda literature found. Then this Abdul Mateen, who is connected with the Al-Hindi group, that is more than 2.5 years old, ladies and gentlemen. So all of that coming into play. So is this a continuum that we are seeing, and do we need to understand it as a continuum, Pathikrit? That means this place is brewing, and all these are hotspots of activity which saw even Sartan Se Juda. They also saw violence during the hijab protests. A lot of this has been building over a period of time. And towards the end, their decision or their ability to try and even think this through, that the identity that it should point towards an angle of Hindu extremism and not of ISIS radicalism. And that will further fuel this narrative globally which they are building, that this is a politically violent Hindutva which is going out to target Muslims.
So Anand, if you look at the Hindu identity being taken, or the ID cards, it actually shows that there is they are taking the legacy experience of Lashkar-e-Toiba, and somebody is feeding that experience to them from outside, so that they take a different kind of identity to go and don't leave a trail behind. The difference is that this time probably the locals will be used, perhaps, and not somebody coming from Pakistan. The second is that, for a long period of time, unfortunately, in spite of the fact that the Bhatkal region was infamous for the Indian Mujahideen or the Coimbatore blast that you mentioned, terrorism, Islamic terrorism was always presumed to be a north of India's problem, and it was not a southern problem. That was the complacency with which the law enforcement agencies in the south have been working for a long time. Look at Coimbatore. What has happened with Coimbatore? In fact, let me tell you, Anand, my biggest concern is that many of these people have been on the radar, and in spite of that, they have been able to give a slip and went ahead and did these ID configurations. Fortunately, the explosions happened before they could reach the destination, because probably the configurations were rudimentary in nature. Now, why Coimbatore? Let me tell you, there's a place in Coimbatore, I'm sure you know better than me, there's a place called Ukkadam. And that place is, the minorities are in majority in that place. And Zehran Hashim, who was the mastermind and one of the bombers of the Easter bombing that you mentioned in Sri Lanka, that person was one of the biggest motivator and mentor of radical Islamist groups in Ukkadam. So there is a connect which you find that's probably whether Muhammad Sharik actually went to that place also or not is something that is to be found out. And National Tawhid Jamaat of Sri Lanka was investigated for its connection with Tamil Nadu Tawhid Jamaat for a long period of time. But then something stopped. Something stopped in between. And, unfortunately, what is disconcerting for me is that there is somewhere a lack of coordination between these states. I mean, look at Tamil Nadu. The difference between the Tamil Nadu blast and this blast, the only difference is that Tamil Nadu was in denial. At least the Karnataka police has not been in denial. But the reality is, on both cases, they have actually failed to do the trail and nab them before they could actually do the explosion. These are remnants.
The point
Look at
is, the
Indian
point
Mujahideen.
here is a problem, Pathikrit. There are CNN News 18 has understood from agencies on ground that these people, there were certain individuals who are marked out as highly radicalized. But the challenge was, how do you arrest somebody just because you believe that person is highly radicalized, because they were able to get bail in court and the court was reprimanding the agency saying he's done nothing wrong. Who are you to judge whether he is radicalized or not? And if he is radicalized, how can you prove that he's a threat to society or a person is a threat to society unless that person does something? So this is where the agencies were challenged, that they couldn't round up beyond a certain level and keep them in custody beyond a certain level because they were able to go ahead and procure bail. There are people, these are outfits and people who also get strong legal banking and legally entrenched. There are a lot of entities who are there giving these people cover fire, and they are also playing so many things. They know the book, they know the rules, and they know how to subvert them. That's something which is concerning. Some questions that emerge before we go back to General Sinha and also Pathikrit Payan. Let's try and understand. How did the accused carry forged Aadhaar card for 2 months and did not raise any suspicion? So is there a serious need to rethink, relook at Aadhaar cards and how they are used, and what is going to be the scrutiny of a person who's using the Aadhaar card? Because there are estimates which say anywhere between 5 to 6 lakh fake Aadhaar cards doing the rounds in our country, which is a serious concern, if not more. Then, who or what was the target of this intended bomb blast in Mangaluru? The other aspect, was this accused self-radicalized or associated with a module or group which was radicalizing these people? And how motivated was this person? Educated individual, engineers, a lot of them are engineers, highly educated but highly motivated, highly radicalized and highly scheming, sharp, planned, to the extent that they were also covering their tracks. Accused travelled to Coimbatore in the recent past. So was there a link to Jamisha Mubin? Mubin was the one who was trying to orchestrate the blast outside the temple. And in both cases, ladies and gentlemen, humanity is lucky that the blast did not go as planned and they misfired. And it's the predators who've been caught. And the prey, that is innocent human beings, they have been saved. The other aspect, are the Coimbatore and the Mangaluru explosions part of a bigger terror conspiracy? Was Tungabhadra a test run also? Should we look at it from that aspect? General K.K. Sinha, how would you, when we put out these questions and try and link this up, is this far more greater a problem than what we are seeing in these two cases of Mangaluru and Coimbatore?
Anand, it is it is very, very big. And if today only the thing has come out where the India ranks in the as far the threat from terrorism is concerned, is ranking just 3, step down from the Pakistan. So this is a very deep, in our country. It has already, we have been always in a denial mode. You see, especially when, they get, patronages from the political bosses also. What is happening? Why it is flourishing there? And what you say, it is very dangerous. Other places, the people are not, those, people who haven't got money, they get involved in it. The people are not educated. Especially in the south, and the Kerala and Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, people are highly educated. They are behind that. And, we are just on the, eyes of the tip, iceberg. We are not able to do it. PFI, has been banned, but 270 people only in the country has been, rounded up. We are not able to reach and, able to break the things which is happening. See, it is a very, very big design. When you actually see that what is happening in Kerala, they had got a time frame you wanted to do it. For the time being, what has happened, then the ISIS link, especially what is happening into the Middle East, what is happening into, Afghanistan, what has happened in Pakistan, it has got some respite. And especially with our, NIA, ED, they have gone on board and they are doing a lot. They are actually trying to get into the root of it. That's why the linkages is not here. Linkages is with Jammu and Kashmir, it strings to, Punjab, it goes to Bihar, it goes to UP. So these linkages are very, very high. It crosses over to Nepal. It goes to Bangladesh. So this linkage, if you will take it that, standalone mode, you will able to do it. You are able to establish 3 links in this. Shivamogga, you have
Right.
done it. Mangaluru with Coimbatore. If you go in detail, you will find that much more linkages are there.
Deeper, but the fact is they're all linked on one common platform, that is encrypted social media platforms. Platforms like Signal, platforms like Telegram. There are other platforms too. A lot of them have moved beyond these platforms also, because now they have come into common parlance and conversations. They are using highly encrypted platforms. Remember that the person who was a wife of this terrorist in Assam, inside that illegal madrasa, she tried to break the phone before the cops could come, and the cops retrieved and saw that she was also operating highly encrypted chat platforms. And she had been taught, despite just being a 10th standard pass, she had been taught how to operate those platforms. So remember, we need to put all of these things, they all look like scattered pieces of information and scattered instances across the country, but there seems to be a pattern and a chain that is connecting them all. Let's also try and understand and track Sharek's movements. He's also very smart. September 3rd and 4th, Sharek actually visited Coimbatore. Who did he meet? Who did he speak, connect with Mubin? Is it the same group? What Patikrit was mentioning, is there a connect there? Moved to Nagarkoil, Uti, Alwa in Kerala. So he keeps roaming around here and there. Was he collecting material? Was he buying things at different places and collecting them, and in smaller quantities across cities so as to not raise suspicion? So look at how devious the planning is, how patient they are, how motivated they are. Procured fake Aadhaar in Hubli, SIM cards in Uti, returned to Mysore last week of September, assembled the IED over 2 months, 2 months in Mysore. Suspect Abdul Tala to be Sharek's handler. Abdul Tala is an ISIS suspect raided by the NIA in May. Tala is absconding. NIA has announced a 3 lakh bounty, but he's sitting outside beyond Indian shores and orchestrating, radicalizing, coordinating, sitting there. Patikrit, we have a serious problem in hand. How do you stop them from coordinating, communicating and radicalizing?
So Anand, very interestingly, let me tell you something. If you look at the Coimbatore blast, I find a lot of correlation and similarity with the Pulwama in terms of vehicle-bound improvised explosive devices being used. Except for the RDX which was there in Pulwama, everything else is very similar. In case of Pulwama, ammonium nitrate was used. In this case, potassium nitrate was used. In case of Pulwama, aluminum powder was used. In this case, also similar. Aluminum powder has been used, sulfur has been used, so it is very similar. Secondly, you will see they will not purchase everything from the same place. So they have distributed architecture of purchases so that it doesn't arouse suspicion. Third, you will see that, frankly speaking, we have certain lacunae when it comes to fighting the height-weight God. There is no law in this country which prosecutes somebody who actually procures a fake Aadhaar card using fake documents. You have no law. Only thing is that IPC section 420, nothing else. You cannot be incarcerated for that. That is the problem. Secondly, when you mentioned about radicalized youth not being prevented from doing something, you cannot do preventive detention beyond a certain point. These are lacunae we have to evolve, and we have discussed in the past also that the government must look at this, that how do you prevent, if the terror attack happens and after that you catch hold of somebody, it doesn't make any sense. So preventive detention of highly radicalized youth, in fact radicalization itself should be something that should be banned. That is the reason in case of Jammu and Kashmir, that organization, Jamaatul Islami was banned because it was radicalizing. Unless you actually stop radicalization, unless you
banning the organization did not stop the radicalization. Just like that, you have rounded up 270 people from the PFI, banned the outfit and put a clamp down. But what about the remaining? There are thousands who have been influenced by these organizations and also by this entire place that you named in Coimbatore. How do we know that the individuals are still not connected? They are still not highly motivated. Where are these people coming from? This is local. You cannot just brush it off saying it's a very, very small number, because a few are enough to cause damage that can perhaps render an entire nation's growth story derailed. That's also possible. So we've got to be mindful of that, and also the narrative that they're trying to spin. There is a politically narrative that's being whipped, and Nazi Hinduism, Hindu extremist. This is what is happening under the Modi government, etc. And then you see these people procuring IEDs, IDs, which they are wanting to use to try and portray a different kind of narrative than what the actual intent is. This is serious and this is being thought out somewhere, and some elements are planning this out. We've got to get to the bottom of that. I'm running out of time, but we'll take this forward later tonight at 8 p.m. on the right stand. Major General K.K. Sinha and Pathikrit Pain, thank you for your inputs. We're going to take a short break. Stay with us.